I'd like to first welcome Ernst Young's Paul Brody back to the show. Hello, Paul. It's great to see you and great to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so obviously, maybe we can start, just talk a little bit about your role at Ernst Young and at a high level, kind of the thesis that you've been driving at Ernst Young, and then we'll drive into more on some of the specific work in this area.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm the global blockchain leader at EY, and that really means my job, my vision is to drive all in a coordinated manner, all of the things that EY does in the world of blockchain. I don't control everything, but my goal is to sort of think about the big strategic solutions that we bring to the market. So audit, assurance, tax, and business applications, and shepherd them all kind of in the same direction. And the central thesis that we have is very simple. It's that blockchains will do for business ecosystems what ERP did inside the enterprise. And let me just unpack that for a little bit, because it's a mouthful, but it really explains kind of how we've come to think about this. Enterprises over the last 30 or 40 years have become very sophisticated internally. They've got MES systems, manufacturing systems. They've got ERP, which tracks kind of business process tools and shared data, right? And then on top of that, they got planning and scheduling. And then above that, they often have kind of analytics tools and machine learning systems. And yet, the minute a really sophisticated company wants to do business with another company, all that digital sophistication gets boiled down to, let's send them by email a PDF document, right? It kind of collapses, right? And the reason that large enterprises don't have more sophisticated tools is because they don't have something they can trust. There are great ways to manage complex multi-party systems with shared business logic and shared fact, but none of them, until blockchain, allowed you to do so without handing out really strategic information to whoever's operating that digital interaction hub. And that makes them way too powerful. So our vision is
risk, basically.
Exactly. And our vision for blockchain is, this is finally a way for companies to interact with each other as part of an ecosystem, right? And by the way, this includes payment, right? That's the whole cycle, right? In a genuinely level playing field where you're not at risk of becoming disadvantaged.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a breakthrough in terms of how enterprises can contract with each other, interact with each other, communicate with each other, but obviously at the core, right? It's about settling transactions. So you guys have pioneered and you've begun rolling out OpsChain. And from what I've read and understand, this is a very comprehensive set of kind of on-chain infrastructure that reflects these new possibilities. Where are you with that rollout, and just maybe talk at a very high level about the kind of capabilities that are part of OpsChain?
So if you think about how two companies interact with each other, right? And you see this all the time, right? I've got money, you've got stuff, and we're going to exchange that. My money for your stuff, right? And we're going to exchange that subject to some terms and conditions, right? Volume discounts or payment upon delivery and things like that. So the things that really sort of challenge enterprises is to manage the terms and conditions. They're good at negotiating these deals. They're not always good at applying the rules, right? Using smart contracts in OpsChain, we can allow you to do things like set up your purchase order, set up your volume discounts, and we can make sure that every time you do the volume discount, every time you do a purchase order, you get the best discount you're entitled to. Then, the closing the loop, the thing that's most challenging and is least mature is, okay, we have a contract, we have an agreement, I've sent you a purchase order, right? You sent me product. Now you sent me an invoice and I need to pay you, right? And this is where I would say we are least mature and have the most high expectations and excitement about what Circle is doing and the role of stablecoins. Because enterprises don't want to settle transactions at Bitcoin. Now, that's not because they hate Bitcoin, or it's not because Bitcoin is terrible. It's not because cryptocurrencies are bad. It's because cryptocurrencies are foreign currencies, right? My revenue, my taxes, my employee pay, that's all in dollars.
Right. Contracts are
So I like
denominated
to,
in dollars, right?
exactly. So I want to keep my transaction denominated in dollars.
Yeah. So this set of this kind of set of use cases with ops chain, this is really kind of drilling into trade finance, these complex intercompany economic arrangements. Obviously, you've mentioned here the kind of role of stablecoins, but where do you see that? What are the use cases where you see stable coins embedded in ops chain based, smart contract applications?
So my goal is to make stablecoin. I envision two things. Number one, I want us to see this kind of closing of the loop with stablecoin based payments,
Yeah.
right? Secondly, and I think fundamentally, even more importantly, I want to see enterprise DeFi. I heard you talking about DeFi kind of in your opening conversation. DeFi is a huge deal because in reality, yes, if a big company like EY buys something or we get an invoice from another humongous company, we don't need trade finance. We don't need working capital, right? We're a huge company. We got great credit. That's not a problem. That's not true for the vast majority of companies. They need working capital. They need insurance. And today they're probably paying far too much for it. So I believe the thing that gets me really excited is properly programmable, privacy enabled DeFi for enterprises. That's what I want to see with dollar stablecoins or euro stablecoins, yen stablecoins, all of those things.
It's like decentralized invoice capital markets that exist on chain that every business can participate in a seamless way around the world.
Right. If you get a purchase order from EY and we have perfect credit, right, you should be able to get working capital financing to support serving EY at an interest rate price that reflects the quality of our credit and our ability to pay as a global corporation, not your tiny little local business where you would have paid 10 or 15% and we would have paid 0.25%.
Right. So kind of this is sort of technically becoming the building blocks are sort of becoming possible today. And there's obviously a lot of experimentation. You're rolling out, significant things. Blockchain infrastructure itself improving very, very fast. Layer 1 and DeFi implementations. If you had to imagine 2 to 3 years in the future, maybe just through the lens of what you're building at E&Y, what do you envision? I mean, obviously you've given us a little bit of color on some of the things that you envision, but what do you see happening with enterprises themselves adopting this and adopting stablecoins on chain in these economic contracts?
So I foresee a couple of things. So first and foremost, the most important thing for me is this will only take off if the blockchain ecosystem invests in privacy, right? No corporation is going to spend a penny on a DeFi system or anything that doesn't give them privacy. And right now, today, stablecoins, DeFi, none of these services support privacy. So that's job number one. That's my number one priority.
Or equivalent.
Right. So not to beat a dead horse, but let me flog privacy some more. And there's a lot of privacy challenges to work out because if I issue a purchase order from E&Y, right, I want you to be able to get credit against that purchase order, but I don't want you necessarily to tell everybody that you have a PO from EY, right? Or for the amount. So we need to find a way to do credit rating and other things under privacy in that environment. So that's one piece of this. I think the second piece of this is we've got to figure out security. Today, DeFi is a little bit of a cesspool from a security perspective, right? There's a lot of hacks happening, and that does not scare me. It should not scare you. That is a normal part of a maturing ecosystem, but enterprises prefer to be at the back of that. They want to come behind. So we need to mature security. One of our big pushes is we have a system called Smart Contract Review, which is designed to address security issues and help companies manage them.
Yeah.
And then I think the third thing is I believe there's a sweet spot where enterprises will start, and it's direct materials procurement at the business network level. And what I'm talking about here is manufacturing companies that buy routinely from global sourcing, from multiple suppliers, and they have decentralized manufacturing, which means they've got suppliers in different parts of the world that they're subcontracting to. What that means is that your manufacturer in, say, Malaysia needs to be able to buy on your behalf and at your discount the raw materials you've negotiated. So that's what we mean when we talk about like network operations. That's what I think is the sweet spot in terms of creating value, right? So security and privacy are essential requirements, but the decentralized structure of the system is what will get, I think, companies to spend the money and to do the work.
As always, Paul, incredible perspective. Really excited to see the progress you guys are making, and really appreciate you joining us to share your perspective today. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, no, thank you for having me on, letting me ramble on. It's always a pleasure. What you guys are doing is very important, right? We need this payment mechanism. We need programmable fiat currencies. So we are very appreciative of what we see Circle doing.
Thank you so much. All right, have a great day.